Now, in this video, we will going to take up flow control statements in Python programming. So here, first we are going to consider the if statement. The most common type of flow control statement is the if statement. An if statement's clause will execute if the if statement's condition is true. The clause is skipped if the condition becomes false. What does it mean? In plain English, an if statement could be read as if the condition is true, execute the code in the clause. Clause is nothing but the block of codes. The syntax for this is, the first one is the if keyword, then after that a condition, that is an expression that evaluates to true or false. After the condition, we have to give colon. Then if it go to the next line, it is an indented block of code called the if clause. That means in Python, always it will execute the condition of the clause only through the indentation block of code. For example, if you consider a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 10, then if the condition is true, that is a is equal to b, that means we are comparing the value of a and the value of b. If this condition becomes true, that means a is equal to b and a is equal to b, that we are comparing the values of a and b. It takes the value of 10 for a and it takes the value for b is also equal to 10. Is 10 equals 10. If the condition is true, print. So since the condition is true, it will execute this statement. They are equal. So what will give the output? They are equal. So this is the flow diagram where the flow chart. We say the start. It takes the value of a is equal to b, a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 10, and then it comes to this, it will checks a is equal to b, that is 10 is equal to 10, the condition is true, they are equals. If it is false, then it will go to end. So this is how the flow chart will going to run. So what about the else statement? In the else statement, an if clause can optionally be followed by an else statement. The else clause is executed only when the if statement becomes false or the if statement condition becomes false. The else statement could be read as if the condition is true, execute this code, or else execute something else or execute that code. An else statement doesn't have a condition, and in a code, an else statement always consists of the following. So what is that syntax? The syntax is the else keyword, a colon, and starting on the next line in indented block of code, which is called the else clause. Similar to that. Suppose if you consider a simple if statement, if else statements. Now we are considering a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 15 in this case. If a is greater than b, then print a is larger, else b is larger. So what will going to be the output? We will going to see now. What is the output? First, we are assigning the value of a is equal to 10 and we are assigning the value of b is equal to 15. Then when it comes to this if condition, what it says, if is the keyword and then condition a is greater than b is the condition. After that you have a colon. This is the syntax what we are used for the if statement. Then it takes the value, it assigns the value of a as 10 and assigns the value of b as 15. Is 10 is greater than 15? No. The condition becomes false. So it will skips this statement and it comes to else. Here b is larger will going to be the output. So here the b is larger in the output. Suppose if you are considering or writing the flow chart for this, in the start a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 15, and then is a is greater than b. If the condition is true, a is larger. Now in this case it becomes false, so b is larger. The end will going to be both the cases, it will comes to the end. So this is how we will going to execute this. Similarly, if a is equal to 20 and b is equal to 15, now we are considering for the another case. If a is greater than b, print a is larger, else print b is larger. So here what it does, what is the output we are going to get? It assigns the value of A as 20 and it assigns the value of B as 15. Is 20 is greater than 15? Yes, the condition is true. So print 20 is larger. That means 20 is what? A is larger. So output will going to be A is larger. So here, this is the flow chart for that, wherein A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 15. Is 20 is greater than 15? Yes, the condition is true. So A is larger. So it comes to the end. So false, since it is since this condition is executed, so it will skips the else statement and comes to end directly. So this is how you will be able to use the if else statement. Suppose if you have an elif statement, that means you have three conditions to be considered. While only one of the if or else clauses will execute, you may have a case where you want of many possible clauses to execute. In such cases, the ellif statement is an else if clause statement, always follows an if or another elif statement. It provides another condition that is checked only if all of the previous conditions becomes false. So in that case, what is that? Elif is the keyword, then we have a condition that is an expression that evaluates to true or false. Again we have a colon, then starting on the next line an indented block of code which is elif clause. Now if A is equal to 30 and B is equal to 40, now here what is that? If A is equal to B, if this condition is true, print they are equal. Elif A is greater than B, print if this condition is true, print A is larger, and output is what is that we will see. In this case, A is equal to 30, it will assign the value of A as 30 and it assigns the value of B as 40. So first if condition is A takes the value of 30 and B takes the value of 40. Is 30 is equal to 40, the condition is false. So it will going to skip this statement. Then it comes to this. Is 30 is greater than 40? Again it skips the statement. Since you have not written any other statement, so output will be, there will not be able to get any output in this case. Why? Because you have not considered another statement which is required so that the B is larger. If both the conditions are false, then both of the classes are skipped. It is not guaranteed that at least one of the classes will be executed. So for that reason, now in this case, if A is equal to 30 and B is equal to 30, if A is equal to B, that means 30 is equal to 30, yes they are equal. If A is greater than, and if A is greater than B, print A is larger, else print B is larger. So in this case, we should have the third condition, whereas the B is larger. But here, what you will going to get the output is A is equal to B, so they are equal. So they are equal. Similarly, in the above example, A is equal to B, the condition is true, it will execute the first statement and skips all other statements of the clause. Then, in the second case, if A is equal to 30 and B is equal to 40, so what happens? If A is equal to B, that means if 30 is equal to 40, they are equal. No, in this condition, it is false, so it will go and skip this statement and then comes to elif. Is 30 is greater than 40? No, again it will go and skip this statement. In the previous case, wherein when you had this elif A is 30 is greater than 40, so it skips that statement, but we are not getting the output there. That is basically because you don't have any else statement. So here they are equal, A is larger. But now we have to consider another case wherein B is larger, else print B is larger. In this case, what happens? Output will going to be B is larger. So this is how, in plain English, this type of flow control structure would be, if the first condition is true, do this, else if the second condition is true, do that, otherwise do something else. That is the meaning of this particular condition. Now, when you use if, elif and else statement together, remember these rules about how to order them to avoid bugs. So, any elif statement you should follow the if else statement. Second, if you want to be sure that at least one clause is executed, close the structure with an else statement as shown in the above example. So, this is how you will be able to execute and you are able to explain the conditions of if if statement, elif statement, simple if else statement, and if, ellif and else statement. Now we will try to execute these things by considering each one of the things in our by taking some coding. So here the coding what we have, the first one we are going to consider a is equal to 10, a equals 10, so it will assign the value of a as 10, b equals 10. Again we are considering the value of b is equal to condition. Then I will say if a equals b, now the condition is true, print they are equal. What you should get the output? You should get the output as they are equal, because a is equal to b, that a assigns the value of a as 10 and b will going to assign the value as 10. Is 10 is equal to 10, condition is true, so it will execute that a is equal to, they are equal. Now you can see they are equal. So now I will try to execute by block. We consider Python debug, the Python code. So first it will take the value of a as 10 and then it will take the value of b as 10. In this case you can see a is equal to 10 and also b is equal to 10. 10 is equal to 10, condition is true. It will comes to this, executes this statement and it says they are equal. So this is how you will be able to execute the program. Now we will come back to the next one, that is if else statement. A is equal to 10 and b is equal to 15 now. A is equal to 10, b is equal to 15. Then if a is greater than b, now first we will consider a is greater than b. If a is greater than b, condition print a is larger, print a is larger, else b is larger, else print b is larger. Now in this condition, if you say, what we are doing is, so first we are going to execute this by debug Python 5. So here first it will take the value of a as 10 and b is equal to 15. Now it checks, a assigns the value as 10, b which will go to assign the value as 15. Since 10 is greater than 15, the condition is false. It will skips this clause, so it comes to this directly. Because if this condition becomes false, then it will going to comes to the else statement, and now obviously the b should be greater, so the b is larger, you will going to get the output. So in the if clause, what the syntax is, first is if is the keyword, condition is a is greater than b and colon is the next one, and then when this condition is true, it will execute the indented block of code in the if clause. So that means this is the indented block, this is the indentation what is taking from this line to this first character of p, print is this. So this is the indented block of code which will going to be considered automatically when you are writing in a Python code. Now the next thing is, here comes to this, if a is equal to 20 and b is equal to 15, then in this case what you are going to get. So if a is equal to 15 and b is equal to 10, then if you try to execute this, we will go by Python debugger Python 5. So here first it will assign the value of a as 15 and it assigns the value of b as 10. Then 15 is greater than 10. Yes, the condition is true, so it will execute this if clause. So automatically the since this condition is true, it will execute this indented block of code, print a is larger. You can see a is larger, and remaining codes or remaining else class will be automatically skipped. Now the next thing is the elif statement. A is equal to 30 and b is equal to 40 now. So we will consider a is equal to 30 and b is equal to 40, then the condition is a is equal to b, print they are equal. A is equal to b, print they are equal. Condition is true, they are equal. Ellif a is greater than b, print a is larger. A is larger. Now we will try to execute this. Now here Python debug file. So first it assigns the value of a as 30 and it will check the value of b as 40. So it will assign that value. So then when it comes to this, so a is equal to 30. So it will assign the value of a as 30. Is 30 is equal to 40? No, the condition is false. It will skip that. Then it comes to elif statement. Is 30 is greater than 40? Again the condition is false. So it will comes out directly without giving any output. That is basically because you don't have the another condition which is required. But it is not a, the program is not wrong. The program is right. But the condition what we need to specify for the third condition, since it is not there, so that is the reason why it will going to comes out of the program. So now if you want to execute this, so at least one of the class has to be executed, then we need to consider else statement which is b is larger. Now in this condition, first we are going to take a value is 30 and b value is 30, and else in this condition else print b is larger. B is larger. Now we will put this condition here. And now we will try to execute Python debugger file. So here, first it will take the value of a as 30 and then b is equal to 30. Is a is equal to b, that is 30 is equal to 30. The condition is true. So then it will execute they are equal. And the remaining block of code will be automatically skipped. Now the next condition is, we will consider a is equal to 30 and b is equal to 40. So here if you try to execute this, now we will see what happens. A is equal to 30 and b is equal to 40. So here in this case is 30 is equal to 40, that means a is equal to b. The condition is false. It will go to skip this statement. Then it comes to this, is 30 is greater than 40. The condition again it false. It skips that statement also, comes to the else, automatically b is larger. Remember this point, in else statement you will not be putting any condition. So now it will execute that the b is larger. Now in the last output, so suppose if you want a is greater, in that case what I need to do is, we will consider a is equal to 40 and b is equal to 30. Then we will try to execute here debug Python file. So first it will assign the value of a as 40 and it assigns the value of b as 30. So then it comes is 40 is equal to 30. No, it skips that statement. Ellif is 40 is greater than 30. Yes, so print it comes to this a is larger and remaining block of code is automatically skipped. So this is how you will be able to understand, and you will be able to understand the conditions of if, then elif, if else, and then if, elif, and the else statement in Python program. Thank you.